I want to talk about, like, because we agree with Steven that the biggest problem like that most of the people face when doing SEO is the basics, like so keyword research. Because like thanks to that we can create content. So can you share some thoughts on how do you do your keyword research? What's the first thing that you actually do when you have a project? Like how do you do keyword research?
Yeah, so I'd say there's kind of a two-sided approach to that. So I'll kind of start with the one side is like, what if you don't have a starting, website or a client to work with, and you're just kind of looking at it from a keyword perspective. So, back in the day when we would build affiliate websites, we would have the idea to go after a certain niche, and that would, start with whatever you thought of as like your primary keyword. So if we're looking at, look at like jackets, for example, like you can know that like there's these massive e-commerce websites like Amazon, Walmart, etc., that are going to be posting content about that. So look at what content they're creating and then just kind of go down the rabbit hole. So you always kind of want to start with whatever idea you can kind of drum up and then just start looking at their top ranking pages, what their organic keywords they're, driving traffic to, etc. And then on the flip side of that, if you have a website that you're already working on, or say that, in our case, if we're doing a audit on a future client, we'll take a look at their website and then take a look at their competitors and see where the overlap is and then where the gaps exist. And then we'll kind of just start creating, a spreadsheet or a running list that will soon form their strategy and take a look at, what are the major content categories or the hubs and where can we kind of start creating these, little pillar pieces, kind of a hub and spoke model. And that really kind of drives the overall strategy and kind of creating little sub pockets or subcategories within the entire landscape or the umbrella of the broader niche.
Okay, so like you mentioned that you're like looking at the competitors and you're finding gaps. What kind of tools are you using for that? Like, because probably you're not doing it from the top of your head, but you're actually defining it somehow, like based on data. So what are you using for that?
Yeah, so I'm a diehard Ahrefs user. I've been using Ahrefs since pretty much day one. So I mean, it's really hard for me to want to use anything else. I've experimented with SEMrush and Moz a little bit, but always find myself going back to Ahrefs just because it's what I know. And it's really great because you can dive into. They have already like gap analysis set up. You can go into clusters and primary keywords and like really kind of just peek under the hood at any site that you want to, whether it's your own, whether it's competitors, or just take a look at what it has to offer. So but yeah, I mean, aside from keyword research, there's a ton of other tools that we can kind of use for content creation.
Okay, so just how I understand it, like you open up like Ahrefs and you basically take a competitor's URL, you put it into Ahrefs just to check like the keywords that they rank for. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I usually start by going to the top pages of that website and I'll take a look at, okay, what are their top ranking pages? And then from that point, you can, expand that and look at each of the SERPs, which is the search engine result page, and kind of take a look at, okay, one, how competitive is that keyword that they're ranking for? How does that translate to the overall, strength or domain authority of their website? And then once that's kind of asserted, then I'll take a look at the individual keywords and take a look at, where are they driving a majority of their traffic? And then if I have to do some sort of comparison between that site and to say our site or our client's website, I'll filter those keywords by difficulty and kind of, use a little bit of a snapshot to take a segment of a specific range of keyword difficulty that I want to take a look at, and then really just kind of start going down the rabbit hole and start digging.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. Like I'm also an Ahrefs guy. Like I love Ahrefs. Like to be honest, I have both subscriptions. So like I use SEMrush and Ahrefs. Like with some of the things, like I feel SEMrush like is better from my perspective. For example, audits from SEMrush like are far better than Ahrefs one. Like to be honest, like the Ahrefs one are so. But my trick with Ahrefs, what I do, like when I go to competition, what I start with, like this is the basic thing, I always go after traffic value. Because like I want to focus on the keywords that deliver them traffic, but valuable traffic. Because traffic value, like the report, it was there before. Right now they hit it a little bit, but you can find it. Will give you keywords that are worth the most amount of money. It's kind of, they're showing you keywords that if you chosen to go after traffic from the paid perspective, you would pay the most to get this traffic. And from my perspective, what it proves is that this keyword that I'm going after has a monetary value. Somebody there in the world wants to pay actually for that, which means that it has a business impact, probably for somebody. Like not all of them, because like it can be like really difficult to say if somebody did it on purpose or not. But that's my assumption, at least the hypothesis that I have. If somebody is willing to pay for a keyword and there is a cost per click, so CPC, for a specific keyword, probably it's more in the bottom of the funnel. So it's easier to convert to a paid customer. And I like to start with these keywords because from my perspective, these keywords are worth a lot more. I like to go after them. The second thing is you mentioned gap analysis, but that's more of an advanced way. What I try to do, I try to download all the keywords from my competitors. Like sometimes I download like 10,000 keywords from each competitor. I like put them into a spreadsheet, and then I try to find the overlap of the keywords that they all have. Like this means from my perspective that not one competitor has these keywords, but maybe like 2 or 3 sometimes competitors, which means, yeah, that's my niche because they all focused on the same thing. And if I'm not there, then probably these are the keywords that I would start with. But for everybody that don't use SEMrush because it's paid subscription, or Ahrefs or different paid tools, do you have any ideas that you can actually mention? How would you find keywords without paid tools?
Yeah, so I used to back in the day, I would use Keywords Everywhere, which is a good Chrome extension if you're looking for that. It's really easy to use. It just downloads Chrome, search for anything, and it kind of like helps target a little bit of, some search volume next to keywords anywhere they are on the web. So that's kind of nice and handy. I've heard people using ChatGPT, which is, a kind of a good alternative, but I always personally have treaded a little bit more on the, cautious side when doing that. Just because, I think that when it comes to keyword research, it's something that I always, if you get that wrong, you get your entire strategy wrong. So I don't tend to rely on it too heavily. I usually stick to Ahrefs, but I've heard so many great alternatives out there that are free, and just a matter of kind of digging them up.
So I agreed with ChatGPT.